G'day ladies and gentlemen, my name's Isaac Butterfield and in this video we're going to declare war on a vegan comedian. Yes, I'm sure it sounds as horrifying to you as it does to me, and to make matters worse, she's a female comedian. I know, shock horror. Anyway, without further ado, let's jump into the video.
We are going to split the climate change lovers pizza.
Oh,
so
shut
let me
the
get this
fuck
right.
up.
It's a dead chicken stuffed with curdled cow pus.
Curdled cow pus? Gross. Love a bit of pus.
And then wrapped in a dead pig. Gorgeous, I'll grab
Well, it's not wrapped in a dead pig, it's wrapped in a bit of a dead pig.
Ooh, that looks great. I'll eat who she's eating.
It does sound quite good.
Oh, I love the smell of burning carcass. I'll take the breast milk latte.
Yeah, you don't want cow's milk, it makes you poo.
Can I just get the scrambled chicken ovulation?
Hey, don't you talk shit about eggs. My chickens lay eggs and they are beautiful creatures.
Yes, are your chicken periods free range?
Mine are. They chase me around the yard when it's time to feed them. It's very funny to watch. It's like you're getting chased by a tiny little raptor.
Hold on. Some dead pig stuck in my tooth.
You got some shit tats, love.
AntiVegan argument hotline. How can we help you ruin a vegan today? Have you tried the crop death argument?
Okay, so here she is. She's pretending to take phone calls from people arguing with vegans. Let's see what she's come up with.
Okay, so they've come back with the astronomical number of crops required to feed 80 to 90 billion animals that we kill each year for human consumption. So it kills less animals to be vegan anyway.
It kills more animals anyway. I don't know. Even if you, okay, let's say there's 100 billion sheep on the planet and they're all going to die this year. I still think to make your little vegetable stir fries, you would have to kill so many little creatures. I'm talking insects. I'm talking mice. I'm talking shriveled up little dick looking creatures. I'm talking all of them, snakes, all this shit, just to make your vegetables. Every single time you bite into a piece of broccoli, the souls of those poor little animals escape into the ether crying and screaming for their mothers, and it's your fault as vegans for doing that. If you want to eat safe vegetables, then you should grow them at home and not use any pesticides. And you know what? To speak absolute facts right now, if I, in a perfect world, ate from one cow for 6 months or 12 months or whatever that happened to be, if I can get my hands on one body, right? And I just ate that cow, that's one soul leaving the earth to feed me and mine. For you to make your vegetable stir fry that you eat at home while you watch reruns of The Big Bang Theory and cry yourself to sleep, you have to murder. You have to take the lives of dozens, if not 100 different animals just to take those crops. And yes, to feed the animals, lots of animals die through the crop deaths as well. But I'm not the one here freaking out about cows going to cow heaven and being angry that they got eaten. What I am here to do is to say that you are a hypocrite. You don't care if insects die, but you care if big animals die. That's fucking silly.
Okay, remain calm. Now, what I want you to say is, yeah, well, what about avocados? My pleasure. Next caller, how can I help?
Avocados. I guess they're talking about water there or something, like you have to use fucking 16 swimming pools of water just to grow one avocado. I don't know what the actual number is, but it is a lot.
Okay, so you've tried saying that lions kill other animals. That is a tough one because lions
do kill other animals. And animals have been eating animals since the dawn of time. But now it's time to stop, apparently.
Carnivores kill with their bare claws, eat other lions, kill their cubs, and don't have Uber Eats or moral agency like we do. Don't panic. I've got something here. Try. We're at the top of the food chain. Next caller, hello.
Well, we're not at the top of the food chain. I guess we are, but if we were out in the jungle, we wouldn't be. Yeah, okay, fair enough. Animals do horrible things to each other. And I don't know if you've noticed, human beings also do horrible things to each other. But that doesn't take away from the fact that meat is extremely nutritious and nutrient dense and is the best food for you to build the most healthy diet that you can build around. There's no getting away from that fact. And if you do try to get away from that fact, I guarantee you what will happen is this particular lady, I've forgotten, Amy, she will basically just cherry pick data that's been cherry picked by vegans for vegans to try to convince other people to become vegans. They ignore any other type of evidence. And the reason they do this is because it goes against their cult. And if you go against the cult, then you're not allowed to be in the cult. You see, there are a lot of vegans that find out this information and then they no longer continue to be vegan people.
Okay, now what I want you to say is eating meat is natural. Okay, and then said there's nothing natural about the systematic enslavement, abuse and murder of 90 billion land animals and over 2 trillion aquatic animals every year for human consumption. Okay.
Actually, I think that is pretty natural. Humans have done it. Therefore natural.
I'm so sorry. You're breaking up. I'm so sorry about that. Okay.
Haha. Humour for vegans. Oh, yes.
The most common word I see in my comments is brainwashed. I'm a brainwashed vegan. Come with me and see if we can see a little bit of brainwashing from the meat and dairy. Laughing cow. Now, when do we think she was laughing? Do we think it was when she was sexually abused, had her baby stolen, or when she stopped producing enough milk to be deemed profitable and then had her throat cut?
This
farmer looks pretty happy, and it's probably because he's just given a happy ending to a bull right before he artificially inseminates a cow.
Yeah, okay, the artificial insemination process and the entire process with breeding any animal is a little bit creepy. If you make an animal ejaculate, I'm not saying you're a bad person, I'm just saying you're a strange person.
I'd love to know how natural it is to be lowered into a carbon dioxide gas chamber and suffocating to death.
Well, I think they're talking about perhaps the meat that you're eating there, because it is the most natural thing to do as a human being, to consume meat. In fact, it is how we thrive, and you know that. You are just living in an all-encompassing vat of cognitive dissonance, and you refuse to listen to anyone outside of your cult. But alas, I digress.
97% fat-free. Too bad that doesn't negate from the fact that it's still a group 1 carcinogen in the same category as cigarettes.
Okay, let's have a little bit of a think about what she just said. It's a class 1 carcinogen in the same classification as cigarettes. Well, she's talking about processed meats, and anything that's processed probably isn't great for you. When you sprinkle on little chemicals, it usually does hurt you. It's the same when you eat your broccoli, lady. All the shit that the farmers spray onto it to kill all the bugs probably isn't great for you. Shout out to glyphosate. Anyway, when it comes to processed meats, it's probably not the best type of meat to eat. If you are eating meat, you should be eating meat that comes from animals who have lived happy and healthy lives. And by that, I mean they've been out in the pastures eating grass, enjoying themselves and doing what they do naturally. And the only time that they encounter human beings is either, well, when they're hanging out with their farmer mates or being killed by them. Point being, you don't want anything that's kept in a cage, anything that's factory farmed or any of that type of shit. It's obviously not good for the animal and it can't be good for the meat, I would think. But the reason that a lot of people point to the idea that cancer is caused by meat is because of not the meat, so to speak, but what is eaten with the meat. We are talking about highly refined foods, processed foods, simple carbs, simple sugars, all that shit. That's what's causing people to become ill, and also putting on a lot of weight, eating too many calories. That's causing a lot of issues. Not eating enough fiber, all of those things. So, yeah, it's not going to give you cancer, guys. Calm down. Now, I don't know much about Amy. All I know is that on her Instagram, she lists herself as a vegan activist and an animal rights advocate, and she creates humor for vegans. I don't know anything about her. Vegan of Oz is her Instagram. That's all I happen to know. But I did find out something quite bizarre about her, and that is she's a bit of a fucking lunatic. And I say that with love, Amy. I'm sorry, but this is fucked up, all right? What I'm about to show you really made me think, holy shit, what is wrong with the people we deal with? Like, in my opinion, this proves that vegans are they've just got a couple of screws loose. They're just a bit fucking insane.
AntiVegan argument hotline where facts come to die. How can I help? Okay, so they've said that animal agriculture is responsible for an astronomical amount of deforestation and climate change, right?
Okay, astronomical. But anyway, so she's being a very funny lady answering the phone for people who want to fight or argue with vegan people. And the first argument that someone's called up with is a lot of farms grow a lot of crops, a lot of veggies, and that leads to deforestation, climate change, etc., etc. Let's see what she has to say.
Classic vegan tactic, using science, but don't panic. Just say, so does your soy, but whatever you do, don't mention the fact that 77% of soy is actually grown to feed livestock. You're welcome. Next caller.
That's bad that it's grown to fed livestock. They should be eating grass. But anyway, yeah, I mean, maybe we should kill all those animals and then eat them. Is that what you want? Is that what you want? The fact of the matter is this: regenerative is the best form of farming. Farming where the cow eats the grass, it shits on the ground, the human consumes the cow, and then eventually the human gets buried under the ground, and then the circle just continues on forevermore. That is the best method, but we can't do that, unfortunately. We live in a world with far too many people, and everyone's got to go to these fucking jobs every day. So this is what we're left with, and it is unfortunate. unfortunate, but it is the reality of the situation. There is no doubt that killing animals is not a nice thing to do, but also we as animals consume animals, and that's what every other animal does, okay? Even the animals that only really eat vegetables, they also kill other animals. It's the whole process that we live in. And just because now we drive around in cars and use fucking little computers in our hand doesn't take away from the fact that our best chance at living a happy and healthy existence is by consuming meat. Sorry about it.
Okay, they've hit you with the if you wouldn't eat a dog, why eat a pig? You've fallen into the moral consistency trap. Just say dogs are pets and pigs are food. Social norms, bro.
Well, that is the argument, though. We decided a long time ago that dogs are our friend. And if we had decided that pigs are our friend, then the opposite probably would have happened. We'd be eating dogs and not pigs. But that is not what has happened. We have a lot of cultural norms and societal norms that we stick to, like wearing clothes. Right? You could argue that that's a societal or cultural norm, or Christmas, all these type of things that we live by, and they're rules that we govern our lives by, much like not eating dogs. And if she does want to carry on with this whole idea of why would you say it's okay to eat pigs and not dogs, I will answer that argument with this very simple statement: because it is. Okay.
Because cultural tradition justifies everything. Slavery, witch trials, lead in paint, all very normal ones. No worries, go eat a hot dog, big boy, next.
Yeah, you've picked 3. There's about 45 million, but anyway, whatever.
So a few years ago, Farm Transparency Project held an auction at an art gallery for amazing pieces of art. This one was the most controversial piece of the night, and I knew as soon as I saw it that I had to have it.
Wow, this sounds exciting. I mean, she's got some amazing art to show off. I can't wait to see. Unfortunately, I don't know the details of the artist, but I'd love to know who this is by. I'd love to hear from you. Wow, I wonder what the art is.
And I've realised that I've never shared it with you.
I think most of us have played the role of the pigs in this dynamic at some point in our life. It's
There's
not
pigs
only
eating a dead
normal,
baby.
but it's celebrated. I love the little details of this piece, especially this little pig who's obviously smelling the feast.
Now, this is one of the most beautiful, powerful pieces of art that I've ever seen. As disturbing as it is, it has pride of place in my home.
The dead baby.
And it reminds me all the time why I do what I do. I just want to show.
Imagine having that in your collection. Like, that's fucked up, man. That's super fucked up. Surely you just buy that and like just throw it in the back of the vegan cupboard, surely. All right, let's find out more about this insane human. But before we do, this video is brought to you by the great people at Fume. The flavored air category is quickly becoming the leading alternative to smoking and vaping, and I am a big fan of this change. And at the forefront of it all is Fume. You see, what Fume does is it replaces the bad habit with a good habit. One of the hardest things to break in a bad habit is the mechanism for action, ladies and gentlemen. The great thing about Fume is you can actually still do that, but you're doing it with flavored air and not the harmful chemicals. There's no vapor, no nicotine, just flavor. Fume is an award-winning flavored air device that delivers great taste without any harmful chemicals. It is sleek, portable, and built to last. Ladies and gentlemen, you can pick your own flavors. I'd go the crisp mint. That is my absolute favorite. Let me tell you that right now. And over 500,000 people already have made the switch to Fume to help break those bad habits, and I encourage you to do the same. For a limited time only, if you order the Journey Pack and use code Butterfield, you will get a free topper. That's right, an awesome accessory to level up your experience. So click the link down below or use this QR code right now to support those who support this channel. Now, back to the video. Non-vegan logic, child abuse edition. This should be good.
Feeding children a vegan diet. Feeding children McDonald's.
That's not good. Who's saying that's good?
Stealing human babies.
Probably bad.
Stealing cow babies. Feeding a child vegan ham. Feeding a child a known group 1 carcinogen.
Why would you label it ham? If you are so against the death of animals and creating ham from their bodies, why would you label vegan ham, you fucking goose?
Beating a child. Using blunt force trauma to kill piglets.
Processed meats aren't the best because they're sprinkled with little bits and bobs. You want the fucking pure shit, all right? You want the good stuff.
Teaching kids to love animals. Feeding children the victims of animal abuse.
Yeah, I think that's the old piggy whack. I don't think you should do that.
Feeding children milk from plants. Feeding children the breast milk of a mother from an entirely different species.
Okay, to her last point there, kids definitely don't need cow's milk. Enough said.
AntiVegan Argument Hotline, how can I help you ruin a vegan today? Okay, you said that killing dogs is wrong and they've asked you what the moral difference is between a pig and a dog. Easy. Say, because I like dogs, and that would be weird. Okay.
Hang on a second. Didn't you just do that in another video? Are you rehashing jokes? How dare you?
Okay, and then they've said that in some cultures it's quite normal to eat dogs, and just because something's accepted within society doesn't make it morally sound. Okay, so what I want you to say is butt bacon. Thank you, next caller.
Okay, so we've already covered this, but yes, butt bacon.
Okay, so you've said that you enjoy eating meat, and they've said that just because you derive pleasure from something does not mean that others should suffer. Then listed just a couple of instances.
Hey, well, okay, just because we enjoy eating meat doesn't make it a moral reason, obviously. Anyone who says that is just like, is basically what they're saying to you is, shut the fuck up, you stupid vegan. You can't win a moral argument against a vegan person. It's very, very difficult. I'll tell you why. Because killing isn't lovely. You are harming that animal. You are hurting it. But unfortunately, for those animals that I choose to consume, my health and my family's health is paramount to their existence. That's the reality of the situation. That's what we're dealing with. And if you want to be upset by that, that's fucking on you.
Instances where people use and abuse others for their own pleasure. What I want you to say is, where do you get your protein from? Thanks. Next caller. Okay, so you've said that our ancestors ate meat for centuries, and they've come back with the fact that our ancestors lived in survival mode, not abundance, with the ability to make ethical choices, and that they also...
I'm going to go out on a limb and say a little bit longer than centuries. People have been eating meat longer than, the 1600s, but go on.
And that they also did a lot of things that we projected, like slavery, burning witches at the stake, and not watching Netflix for 6 hours a day. Easy. Just say, what if you were stranded on a desert island?
Hey, you're just rehashing fucking jokes here. This is getting a little bit outrageous. I don't know how I feel about this, but yeah, back in the day, people would have to hunt to survive. And that is how our bodies have evolved over millions of years, much like animals like gorillas have evolved just to eat a lot of plant material, and they look fucking jacked, okay? There's a reason you don't see vegans looking like that, super, super jacked and eating plants all day, eating broccoli all day. And that is because human beings have not evolved in that fashion. They have evolved to eat meats and fruits and berries and shit like that. Okay, and vegetables too. Veggies are great. Good on you. Get some on your plate tonight. Have a veggie for me. But the fact of the matter remains that human beings are made to eat meat. You can't beat that argument. You can't do it. It's impossible to do. Sorry.
When I was shopping today, I found some more misleading packaging from the meat and dairy industry. Let's take a look. This cow looks pretty happy. Now, this must have been before she was popped into what the industry call a rafe rack. Oh, this is quite cute, but do we think our kids would be happy to know the chicken from Old MacDonald's farm was sent to slaughter at only 6 weeks old? Fitness outcomes. Now, that's almost...
I got one for you. I gave I've got chickens. And my 2-year-old and I found a worm. We're doing a bit of work in the backyard and we found a worm. And I said to my son, to try and show the circle of life and animals eat animals, I said, let's go give it to the chicken. And I put the worm on the ground and the chicken ate the worm. Like, that's what chickens fucking do, right? If what you're saying is true, his reaction should be horror. No, he just went, oh yeah, that's it. He was like, let's go on, eating. Yum, yum for the chicken. Because that is our baseline as human beings. We know that animals eat animals, that it's only through the way that we live our life now that it even becomes a question of morality. In the past and forever, we have eaten things to survive. If something horrible happened and we had to go back to hunting every single day and struggling to survive, all of the vegans would shut the fuck up and go back to eating meat because it is the most nutritious piece of food that you can have as the center point of your plate, if you will. You should have all other little bits and pieces, but it is the centerpiece.
Now that's almost as rich as the bolognese itself, especially since beef is a group 2A carcinogen. Skinny cow, now she looks pretty laid back for someone who hasn't been producing enough milk and is about to be sent to slaughter.
Okay, you know what? She's brought up cancer again. Let's go and actually talk to a doctor about this. Let's ask Anthony Chafee, who is a specialist in neurosurgery and is an expert when it comes to nutrition and the carnivore diet. So let's ask Anthony Chafee about the big C word and meat.
Red meat does not cause cancer. Well, what we have to remember about the idea that red meat causes cancer is that it comes from the 2015 IARC working group through the WHO, where they took a couple dozen studies that showed a very weak correlation between processed meat and colorectal cancer, really only an 18% increased risk association. This was done by epidemiology, looking at food frequency questionnaires, asking people to try to remember what they've eaten in the last 2 to 4 years sometimes, and trying to get valuable information out of that, which of course is impossible because that's wholly inaccurate. They go one step further in making this more inaccurate by saying processed food is basically any junk food that may contain meat, such as hamburgers along with fries and a drink, or pizza, lasagna, sandwiches generally. And this is literally what they are calling meat or processed meat. Meat makes up a very small proportion of the calories. And even then, it only showed an 18% increased risk association. Now, that's significant because if you can't get a 200% increased risk association, it is considered not valid in an epidemiological sense. It's just considered background noise because there are so many of these confounding factors that may mix things up. Also, they didn't correct for people that eat more meat and processed meat like junk food and pizza tend to smoke more, tend to drink more. If you want to look at complete data and not the cherry-picked ones that the IARC used, you can look at a recent publication from the University of Washington in Seattle, which is the #1 medical school in America most years, and one of the top research institutions in the world. They published a paper in the prestigious publication Nature called The Health Effects Associated with Consumption of Unprocessed Red Meat, a Burden of Proof Study. In this, they look at over 800 studies that the IARC threw to the side because they didn't want to look at that were much higher quality evidence, had less confounding factors, and found weak to no evidence that even processed meat had any association whatsoever with colorectal cancer or any other form of cancer or any disease at all, including cardiovascular disease or diabetes, and no link whatsoever between unprocessed red meat and any of these conditions, including cancer, heart disease, etc. So really the claims against meat causing cancer really just amount to bias and cherry picking and not real data-driven science.
Here is why I'm no longer vegan. Firstly, I had to listen to my body. And it's so important that no matter what, we listen to our bodies, even if it's at the expense of others. You have to listen to you. And secondly, personally, I actually only buy...
I agree, by the way, with what she's saying. I'm glad she's changed her mind.
Grass-fed, organic, locally, humanely slaughtered animals who didn't feel any pain.
and then are perfectly butchered and sold at my local unicorn pixie grocer that's family owned in my local community. Thank you for listening.
Beautiful. Well done. That is the perfect way to live your life. And I'll tell you why. In fact, I'll ask you a question, Amy. If I was to eat a deer, okay, and that deer was hunted by me, would you say that that animal's death was better if I killed it or old age took it and it starved to death and was eaten by ants asshole first? If anything, I'm helping it, right? If it lives a long and happy and lovely life. If I kill it too young, then that's not cool, but if it's older, what do you think about that?
You have to try the carnivore diet because the perks are unmatched. Some of the amazing benefits you can look forward to are projectile diarrhea.
Yeah, a lot of people talk about the diarrhea, your body getting used to it, and then it goes away, and people find all of these amazing benefits from the carnivore diet. Like all of their ailments go away and their lives are much better. But yeah, sure, just focus on the diarrhea for a week.
High LDL cholesterol.
Okay, so what she's referring to here is LDL, or low density lipid. Not a doctor, comedian. You obviously need to keep an eye on your LDL. That is the bad cholesterol, what is known as the bad cholesterol. But the science is now suggesting you need to keep more of an eye on the, and I'm rehashing shit that I fucking listened to years ago. You need to keep more of an eye on the ratio. You also need to keep an eye on the size of these particles or something else, all right? I'm not the one to fucking listen to. Go and listen to an expert in the field. I'll tell you who's not an expert in the field, this fucking random woman. And also, can I go back to her just for a second? Saturated fat is fantastic for you, okay? There's so many resources out there where you can find not fucking comedians, but actual scientists, nutritionists, and people who are up to date with the most current medical knowledge who will basically blow apart everything that she is saying and everything that the nutrition industry has been telling us for half a century or more. Okay, they blow it apart. Saturated fat is not the enemy. Calm down.
Increased risk of heart disease and several cancers. Maximizing your negative contribution to climate change.
Allegedly.
And most importantly, the blissful feeling of knowing that every single day, sentient beings are being abused and murdered just for you. What are you waiting for? Ditch the nutrient and fiber-rich vegetables and eat carcass today.
Sounds good. Like, honestly, she's done a really good job at creating a fantastic ad for the carnivore diet, because I don't want to look like you. And if just eating plants makes people look like you, then fucking sign me up for a big dirty rump steak immediately.
Riddle me this. So many meat eaters ask or even get angered by the fact that vegans try to get their food to taste like meat, when it's really them making meat taste like plants. I don't know many people who raw dog it and eat meat in its natural form. In fact, most will cook their animal flesh in olive oil or even deep fry it in vegetable oil.
They cook meat with olive oil so it doesn't stick to the pan. By the way, butter's much better.
And that's either before or after flavoring it with garlic, lemon, herbs, spices, dressing, marinade.
Salt is the best, but yeah, we're allowed to have other foods, mate.
All made from plants. They put plants on top of meat. They put plants underneath meat. They put plants around meat.
I'm not saying don't eat plants.
They sandwich meat in between plants. So if you ever get asked that question...
Who the fuck thinks that the plants are the best part of a meal? If that's you, get away from this channel now.
Make sure you do the old 180 and ask them right back why they're dressing up dead animals as plants.
Listen up, Lisa, whatever your fuck name is. No, Amy. I don't know why I thought your name was Lisa. You look like a Lisa. Amy, listen. The fact that you guys, you vegan people, have vegan bacon and vegan beef and vegan everything is just strange. It is exactly the same, okay? You ready for this? It's exactly the same as, you know how some people, the old PDF files, you know how they sometimes buy SEX dolls that are the size of children? Yeah, that's what you vegans are doing when you buy fake meat, okay? You big freaks. Ladies and gentlemen, that's the end of the video. Be a good motherfucker. Peace in the Middle East. Mid extinct. Toodaloo au revoir. Bye-bye.